Hello, and a very warm welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Maria, and I am the owner and founder of the New Mummy Company here in Oakville, Ontario. If you are new to our channel, a very warm welcome. And for those of you who are our subscribers, a special warm welcome back to you. I am delighted today to be joined by SuYin Jordan, and she is a CAPPA trainer for CAPPA in Canada. And this summer, we had the wonderful opportunity to kickstart our postpartum doula training with SuYin. And as you know, SuYin, we've had some wonderful feedback. So we are really, really pleased about that. So good morning, SuYin. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Maria. Thank you so much for having me.
We are delighted to have you. Would you mind introducing yourselves to everybody so they can learn a little bit about you?
Sure. So my name's SuYin Jordan, and I'm the owner of Cherry Blossom Doulas, Inc. My background is in nursing and midwifery, and I was a nurse and a midwife in the UK for over 30 years. When I came to Canada, I decided to take a career shift and used all my transferable skills and decided to embark on a career as a doula. I started off as a postpartum doula, then I also became a labor doula, but my heart lay in postpartum doula work. Because that fit in really well with my children, and I could schedule things easily that way instead of being on call for births. And having been a midwife for over a long time, I felt that women needed more support in the postpartum period. Everybody's so excited about the birth, everybody's so prepared for the birth, and then the baby arrives and they don't know what to do. So that's where I come in and help them all. So I've been a doula for over 9 years, and I've been CAPPA faculty member for the postpartum doula program for the last 3 years. I have 2 grown-up children who are at Guelph University. One's in vet school and one's doing microbiology. I'm happily married. I've been with the same guy for over 30 years, and I have a dog called Leo.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that introduction, SuYin. I am very excited to talk to you today because, as I mentioned, we were able to have you kickstart our postpartum doula training this summer. And so we have a number of doulas who are currently going through their certification process with you, which we're excited to be doing with them. So I'm going to get to the certification process and things in just a moment, but let's take a step back right to the very beginning and think about, for those of the viewers that are watching who maybe are not familiar with the term postpartum doula, or maybe haven't heard of the word doula, can you give us a brief description of what a postpartum doula is and what a doula means?
So the word doula is an ancient Greek word meaning woman slave. But in more modern terms, it's almost like a woman servant or being with woman. But as we're using in inclusive language nowadays, I guess that the term doula now means supporting birthing parents and non-birthing parents through the postpartum period. So we provide support that is non-clinical. So we provide informational, physical, emotional support. And that support, especially the information bit, is evidence-based as much as we can. Provide it to be evidence-based.
Wonderful. So when it comes to a postpartum doula, what is it the typical, and particularly in your teaching, what is the role that you are teaching them to undertake? What do they facilitate with families when they are at home with the families?
So one important thing that I'd like to get across is that we don't go in and take over. Basically, we go in and we support them transition into parenthood, because at the end of the day, our job is to make ourselves out of a job. We go in, we support them, we show them what to do, we explain why we do certain things, we give them the information, we give them the knowledge, we give them the resources, and they run with that. So we will teach them how to do all the baby care needs, from changing a diaper to baby baths to soothing a baby when baby's upset. And then they will demonstrate to us, and we will, correct them if necessary, or suggest new ways, or even just accept, the way that they want to do it, which is fine. So we give them the confidence, we reassure them, we empower them to take this forward. And as I say, at the end of the day, we are making ourselves out of a job. And
I love
yeah,
that ethos.
Yeah, and that's when we know we've done a really, really great job. So recently, this just happened this week. So my husband and I had our flu shots on Saturday, and by Sunday, he wasn't feeling very well. Yes. He'd also been in contact with somebody at work that had come into work unwell. So he's now got man flu and is very unwell. And I can't go to my clients. And that's why I can speak to you now, because I was meant to go to them for 11 o'clock today. So we've both gone and had our PCR COVID test, because that's what I do. If anybody's ill in my house, or if I've been in contact with anybody that's ill, and that's a responsibility that I hold myself, and I don't want to make anyone ill, right? So, and I said to them, I'm really sorry. This is the situation. Dave has, his results came back negative today, which is great. Mine aren't available right yet. So I said, he's still symptomatic, but it's negative. We've done a rapid test. That was negative too. So, the ball is in your court. Do you want me to visit? And they say, well, we're really quite good, actually. And I've only been with them for 4 weeks. We're quite good. We are quite good. And everything's going well. And we'd rather everybody was well before you came back. Yes. So that's, I said to them, well, that's a great testimony to how well you have been supported. And they laughed and they said, did you mean to send us that? And I said, yes, I'm just singing my own praises.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful ethos. And it was one that was actually part of my own training when I trained to be a doula, which was rather a long time ago. And it's something that the more you do it, the more you realize just how important it is to do yourself out of a job, because it can be quite easy to create that dependency on the support that you provide. And it is very important that we have an ability to boost their confidence, show them the ropes, and then extract ourselves so that they can get on with being a happy family.
Yes.
So one question that sometimes comes up is a doula like a midwife? Does a doula do similar things to a midwife? Can we just briefly explain, because this is something that we could probably talk for hours on, but just briefly explain the main differences between a midwife and a doula, and how they are not the same person and they're actually quite different?
So a midwife is a clinically trained, health professional that will look after a woman from pregnancy all the way through to birth, labor, and the postpartum period. And she is responsible for both mom and baby clinically. So basically, she will do assessments on blood pressure. She'll do baby growth assessments. She'll make sure baby's well in labor and before in prenatal period. Whereas, a doula is a support person that is non-clinical. So we are there to support the birthing parent, the pregnant parent, with non-clinical things. So any information she needs, any physical support that she needs, let's say in labor, if she needs a back massage, we'll be there doing that, right? So the main difference is that we're non-clinical. So we do have a lot of knowledge, but we don't actually do any assessments. We will not take baby's temperature. We will not cut baby's nails. We will not do mom's temperature. We will not look at her cesarean wound scar. We will not look at her perineum to see if it's healing well. That is not within our scope of practice.
Yeah, that's the role of the midwife.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you very much for that, SuYin, because that is something that I think you probably get asked quite a lot, and so do we. And so I think it's very important to be able to distinguish between the two, and that it's also probably a good idea to mention that the two will often work side by side, where midwives are very happy where a doula is present, and obviously midwives are complemented by the doula role, because there is just that extension that support. And we're all big fans of midwifery support services, and we're fortunate that in most provinces here in Canada, midwives are available to expectant families, it's just such an amazing service, especially the service that's given to them in the fact that it's done in their own home very often, and that they can support a home birth. So there's a lot of benefits to having your doula and your midwife working together side by side. So that's definitely something to think about. And that's probably another video for us to look at, is interviewing one of the midwives and talking about the role of the midwife and how they often work with doulas. So I know we talked at the very beginning about you started our doula training for us this summer, which was something we were all very excited about. And I know that the cohort that you had very much enjoyed your training and are going through their certification process at the moment. So one thing that comes up time and time again, and I'm sure it's something that you get asked, every day probably, is when I train as a doula, am I trained? Am I certified? What's the process, in the sense that if I'm training, am I done when I finish my training? Why is there more to it? So just understanding the difference between what is a certified doula and what is a trained doula, because there is quite a substantial difference.
Yes, so the training is over 20 hours at the moment because it's virtual live. If you attend a live training, then it's 18 hours. And basically the training is just a launching pad for you to jump into your, professional doula career. In 18 hours, we do not have enough time for you to, attain certification. Basically, certification is the action or process of providing someone or something with an official document attesting to a status or level of achievement, which would include the experience of working with families. So within that 18 or 20 hours in a weekend, there is no way we're going to, CAPPA is going to be able to say, oh, you're certified at the end of this, because you haven't even worked for any families or got their evaluations or testimonials from them to be able to give to CAPPA. Now, if you have already done some doula work before the training, you may say, oh, but I've already, supported families as a nanny or as a night nurse or, whatever. But the thing is, we need you to do the training and know what the scope of practice of a doula is, and have, some knowledge about what a doula does, and knowledge about newborn care and, the birthing parents' postpartum period, and anything that might go wrong, and postpartum mood disorders, all of those things which you may be aware of, but we would like you to have more knowledge in order for us to attest that you have this knowledge.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in terms of the training, you mentioned that it is currently an online training that they will do through Zoom with you over the course of a weekend, which sounds wonderful. But then as part of the certification process, you also mentioned that they have to do work with the families. And that's what we are working with the cohort that did your training with. They're accruing those hours at the moment. But there's more to the certification process than just doing the training and doing the family hours. Can you let people know, people who might be interested in becoming a doula, just so that they have that sort of awareness of what actually is involved beyond the training?
So I'm talking about CAPPA because I train for CAPPA,
yes.
But most training organizations, doula associations, have similar pathways to certification. So CAPPA, from the date of training, gives you 2 years to gain your certification. And you have to do the training, first of all. Then you will read a selection of books from the postpartum required doula reading list, which are books. There are 3 books that you have to read that are compulsory. That's the manual and 2 enjoy booklets. You have to read 2 books from doula work and the new family. You have to read 2 books from the newborn care category. And then there are additional topics like, Beyond the Blues, A Guide to Understanding and Treating Postpartum Depression, And there are also options for you to watch a couple of videos that are on Amazon Prime and YouTube as part of your reading list. So that's the reading. Then you have to pass your scope of practice exam, which is like 100%. You need to know your scope of practice before you go out, and someone gives you a certificate to say you are, proficient at this. You have to also provide proof of current infant and child CPR certification through an approved association. So like the Red Cross would be good. And if you have clients and if you have any students coming from the US, then the American Heart Association. And you have to work with the 3 families that I spoke about. You have to get 2 letters of recommendations from either a certified childbirth educator, a certified labor doula, postpartum doula, midwife, obstetrician, pediatrician, 2 letters from another childbirth professional to say that you are competent and proficient at what you're doing and you are of good standing character. You need to create a resource list with information on local support for parents. And then you have to sign and agree with CAPPA's policies, like their code of conduct, their social media policy, grievance policy, CAPPA mission, CAPPA approach, and all of those things. Then there are 2 exams to pass after all that. Multiple choice exam that you will have to get 85% and above to pass. And then there's a short essay exam that is just marked as a pass or fail. And then, review all of CAPPA's policies and procedures, and you have to sign all of that, and you have to get this whole package ready and posted to CAPPA within 2 years of taking your training. Now, if you stumble and fall in any of your assessments, there you are given the opportunity to take them again at a small cost. And all these exams, before we scare you, are open book exams, and you do it in your own time. So the certification is done by enrolling in CAPPA Academy. So it's all online. It takes you step by step. You won't go to the next step until you're ready and you've passed the previous step. And you've done it all in follow the pathway as it goes. And like I said, the exam is an open book exam. So you can do it in your own time, save your answers, go away, come back. But you have to get it all done in 2 years. That's the only thing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that very, very thorough explanation. And I hope that helps any parents who might be watching to understand the difference between what is a certified doula and what is a trained doula, and why it's really important to have had that independent verification of their training to be able to provide them with the certification. And it just is ensuring that all of that additional learning has been done on top of the training course that they have spent their time with you or another trainer, SuYin. And then, of course, for anyone who is thinking about becoming a doula, now you understand that there is quite a bit of learning to be done, but it's not as scary as it sounds, because you do have plenty of time, but that it also doesn't actually take as long as it sounds, because yes, you do have to do your reading, but if you're going to immerse yourself in this industry and do these things, it's something that you're going to be very passionate about. So you're going to want to become almost a bookworm and learning as much as you can, because it's something that will obviously increase your confidence and your skills, and obviously lead to your certification, which is the added benefit. So if you are thinking about becoming a doula, then please do reach out to us. We can sort of give you the information with regards to what we can do to support you as you begin your journey as a doula. And then we will pass you along to SuYin, and then you can register with SuYin for the courses that she runs. And you are still running your courses virtually, SuYin, that's correct?
Yes, I am. CAPPA has allowed us to, for the next year anyway, 2020. Okay. We are allowed to run them virtually, but I'm also wanting to do some in person, because that's, we get so much more out of being in person. Can I just say one more thing about certification?
Yes, of course.
So when you certify with CAPPA, your certification lasts for 3 years, and every 3 years you have to renew the certification. So in order, and I also must say that you have to be a member of CAPPA before you can apply to CAPPA Academy. But right now, all our trainings include a 1-year membership to CAPPA in the price that we're charging. So you already have that, and you're ready to, we really want you to launch your career. And that's why we've built into the CAPPA membership, which is valued at $75 into your training costs. So at the end of 3 years after being certified, you have to recertify. And basically this is all to do with like continuing professional development. We want you to get continuing education units. You need 15 of those. And then you need to say that you've read 10 pieces of current research in the last 5 years, you submit that and you get recertified for the next 3 years. CAPPA also offers a yearly free conference for all doulas. You only pay a $5 registration fee, and you can get about 12 to 13 continuing education units just by attending conference, and it's totally free. So next year, conference is actually in Niagara. So anybody in the GTA, it's not too far from us. It's on the American side, but it's still in Niagara.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I had seen that it was going to be pretty local, but I hadn't actually dived into too much information. So that's probably something I need to put in the diary and try to attend. That would be wonderful. I think that you've explained the whole process really well, and I think that a lot of people would actually be encouraged by the fact that there is an ongoing certification, recertification process, because that just raises the level of the standard in terms of the profession. And I think that's something that we're all, wanting to be part of, something that we feel proud of, and knowing that the bar has been raised to that level, I think is very important, not just for ourselves as professionals, but also for the parents that we are going to be supporting, so that they can be guaranteed of a certain level and a certain caliber. And I think that's really important, because we want to make sure that any misconceptions or, sort of old wives' tales about what a doula may have been or what it might be, that parents can really understand that this is a true profession when you have become part of the industry and you have become certified.
For sure, it verifies that you are professional, right? You're a professional postpartum doula, and that you are competent at what you do.
Yes, and of course, at the end of the day, we are supporting families when they are in a very vulnerable state, and we're also caring for these teeny tiny little babies who need the best care and the best support. And obviously, when we are educating parents, it's really important that we are giving them the correct information on, no matter whether we're teaching, bathing or diapering or swaddling, it doesn't matter. We need to make sure that information is true and correct.
For sure.
It has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, SuYin. My final question is just to remind people that you do have regular classes running. You do this a couple of times a year, right?
Next year I have 3 trainings, and I'm really, really sorry. I should have all these dates.
That's okay. That's okay.
So the next training I'm doing, I'm changing it a little bit, because I've been doing it over 2.5 days. So 1 half day and 2 very long days. Right. And I've had some feedback from people that saying, oh, it's because it's Zoom, like, to kind of like just look into a computer for 8 hours a day can be very taxing. So the next training I have a training in November, but registration is closing in a few days, and that's the 19th, 20th, and 21st. But the following one next year in January 15th and 16th, and then the 22nd and 23rd, I'm doing it over 2 weekends, and it's 5 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, so that people can still have some of their day, some of their weekends to go and do things, enjoy themselves, and not feel so taxed. And also it gives them that 1 week space in between just to, like, you know, go and read their manual, you know, see if they have any questions, digest, process what they've learned from me or heard from me, or what we've discussed in class, and then come back. And I think that would, you know, I feel very excited about that model, and I hope it does work.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will, because I know that it's a lot that they have to take in over the 20 hours. So I think that's a really great approach. Thank you so much for joining us today, SuYin. I hope you have enjoyed our conversation. I certainly have. For our viewers, we would love to know if you have heard the word of a doula, maybe you've used a doula. And if you're thinking about becoming a doula, then we would love to hear from you. If you've enjoyed the video, please do give us a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying watching our videos, do please hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you join us on a regular basis. We try to get our videos out every Thursday for you. And so we will be back very soon with our next video. So from SuYin and I, it's time for goodbye, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.